Hello, everybody. I am Drake Redwind01, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to make a boss, robust website using Django Fast, no fluff included. Now, of course, for something like this, there will be prerequisites, and they are Windows, Docker Desktop, GitHub, Python, and miniconda. You can do this without Windows, Docker, or miniconda, and you can use something other than GitHub, but then this tutorial wouldn't be for you. So in this talk, I'll cover the following topics: the cookie cutter setup, cookie cutter settings, Django API, and Django public view HTML. Because I have an external drive, I must first change my directory to D, then cd or change directory to D documents GitHub, then the name of my project, Redwind01, com, like I would put .com, but it doesn't like that. Cookie cutter starter, and put the cookie cutter gh cookie cutter Django. Because I'm using miniconda, I need to activate my environment named redwind01.com, well, without the dot. Now, this didn't work for me. Can anyone guess why this is, especially when we can see it listed here in our conda environments?
Name typo. Com to env.
Sorry?
You have a environment redwind01 env, not com. Is that it?
No. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's not, oh yeah, I guess that would have been why. But, I don't know. I just run into a error where I try and do it, and it's like, well, first you have to put conda activate. So
okay.
Yeah.
That one.
So, but anyway, I was thinking that too, but as you can see here, the TF activates even when I don't have conda preceding the command. But apparently for some environments, you need to pronounce you are using conda. Maybe I haven't activated it enough for it to just know. I don't know. It's a mystery. So anyway, the last step we need to enter the pre-setup phase is to run the command to lines cookie cutter. So let's input gh cookie cutter Django, cookie cutter dash Django. And because I've already installed this once before, it's asking me if it's okay to delete and re-download it. Apparently, after a lot of research, and by research I mean asking Mr. Jeremy, who incidentally, this tutorial couldn't have been made without. Every time this comes up, you should re-download it as signified by a Y. Now, some easy settings. These consist of project name, project slug, description, author name, and domain name. Version, just hit enter. Licensing, username type, how people will log in. Time zone, always use UTC and figure out the conversions later. It's easier this way. Windows, if you're using Windows, yes. If not, no, very easy stuff. Editor, none, Python, or VS Code. I'm using PyCharm. Docker, I'll be using this for our demonstration. So why am I using Docker? Portability, Docker containers can be run on any machine that has Docker installed, regardless of the underlying operating system or architecture. This makes it easy to deploy applications to different environments, such as development stages and production. That's because Docker is basically its own operating system, or it has its own operating system within it. Consistency. Docker containers provide a consistent environment for applications to run. This means that the developers can be confident that their applications will run the same way on any machine, regardless of the configuration. Scalability. lightweight and efficient, which makes them ideal for scaling applications. You can easily start and stop multiple containers on a single machine to meet the demands of any application. And agility. Docker makes it easy to develop, deploy, and update applications quickly. You can create a Docker image for your application and share it with others so that they can deploy it to their own environment with a minimal effort. So, PostgreSQL version or PostgreSQL, PostgreSQL, who knows? Anyway, just hit enter and get the last one. Get it? Get? No? Never mind. Continuing on, we finally have some more difficult questions, starting with cloud provider. So we are given 4 different options: AWS, GCP, Azure, or none. But for the purposes of this talk, we are going to use none to make things a lot simpler. Continuing on, we have mail services. We choose other to make things as simple as possible. I don't have a preference, so please try to sway me after the meeting. Use async. Turn this on to save tons of cache. DRF, Django REST framework, a resounding yes. The Django REST framework's main benefit is that it makes serialization much easier. The Django REST framework is based on Django's class-based views. Therefore, we will be using Django's class-based views. Okay, so front-end pipeline, again, no preference. Celery, always yes. Celery is a distributed task queue that allows you to offload work with your Django app. It is a popular choice for handling long-running or compute-intensive tasks, such as sending emails, processing payments, or generating reports. Celery improves on performance, scalability, reliability, and flexibility. Celery is also used for indexing search engines, transcoding videos, crawling websites, and processing data streams. So yes, it's a must-have. Mailpit, no, but it is used for testing emails in development, sending emails from Django apps, receiving emails in your Django apps, and managing mail queues. It's very useful to have, but we're not using it because this is just going to be a simple static page. Sentry. Yes, Sentry is a tool for recording errors and keeping track of performance. It enables you to monitor both your app's performance and any faults that happen in your Django application. Byte noise, always yes. This is used for compressing static files, serving static files from memory, and serving static files from the Content Delivery Network, or CDN. So as you can imagine, we will be using this. Heroku, another cloud provider that should have been with AWS, GCP, Azure, and none. CI tools for continuous integration. My personal favorite is GitHub. So keep local env in VCS. I'm saying no because I'm using an external environment, namely Docker and miniconda, which are both external environments. And finally, the last pre-setup question, debugging yes or no. All I have to say is if you select no, good luck, and may God have mercy on your soul. So, with the last question answered, you hopefully got the success dialog. And with that, you can label the initial setup as complete. Intermission. Psych. Now, let's get ready for the real coding. Now that we have all that out of the way, it's time to start actually messing with real code. Yay! This is what you will see when entering your project for the first time. But there's a small problem here. Any guesses? Any guesses with the file tree? No? Okay. So the problem is that we have 3 files of the same name. We have 1 here, 2, and 3. So to fix this, we click on the pop-out option hamburger thing, then File and Open. Navigate to your project and select the second nested project name as highlighted here. Next, we're going to preemptively open Docker from the Start menu, and we can see my website, which I'm currently working on. Now you can see our local.yaml file highlighted in the file tree on the left. This is what we use to build our new instance of Docker for our website. We can right-click local.yaml, then hit run or enter Docker compose -f local.yaml up into the terminal. If all goes well, this is what the terminal will look like after a successful run. Down here, it says application startup complete. I ran out of room on my computer, so I had to delete my site's Docker files to make room, but that's okay because I'm using Docker in the first place and it's easy to set up again. Now, to ensure it's running, we will go to localhost 8000 upon getting there. We are greeted with Django's welcome to default page. It's not much to look at now, so let's change that. Now, this section is going to go by really fast, but don't worry, you can find this project in the Redwind01 COM cookie cutter starter repository, or you can keep watching this video over and over again, adding more time onto my YouTube watch hours. Here, you can see how to start a new app with Python manage.py, start app, your app name, in this case, library. Next, we head to config/settings/base.py to tell Django there is a new app to worry about. Again, you can see the directory on the left and the code changes on the right. I hope I'm doing that right. We also get to the server carrying out various tasks. Step 3, or of about 10 steps. They might have changed in the future, I'm not sure. We head to library, models.py, and create our first class books. And here we see them added. And the two imports, character field, positive small integer field, are added because they are involved or they're invoked within our library class for book title and ratings respectively. 4. Now, this one's a little tricky. We're going to have to make our own file named serializer.py and our library app. Just copy and paste it as you see here. Step 5, views.py. Import our model, the model serializer that we just made, along with the rest of our view set. And as my Chinese teacher used to say, take it as a whole. I believe you thought I was going to say something in Chinese, huh? Wang Diao Tai. Or forget about it. Literally meaning forget, lose, or fall, and it. But I digress. So moving on. Step 6, the API router.py is in our config folder. That is a big difference in this more robust cookie cutter model. Place them here in config/settings/API router.py, urls.py. Again, in the config folder, the book's view sets, the book view set gets imported at the top, always at the top, and the book's view set goes down here with all the others. 8, admin.py. This is what adds the model to our admin panel to later edit it using the admin login. Very useful for changing key differences. This is also the reason tech support doesn't need your password to make changes to your account. So if tech support calls you, do not give them your password. The easiest thing for them to do is to give you a temporary password, which you should definitely change as soon as you log in. I'd say take the list display method for the easiest time, rather than defining all of the different fields you want included, unless there are way too many fields and you don't care about. In that case, please do list the fields you want included. Step 9, finally adding our HTML page. So we create a new template name, library.html, into the given directory. As you can see highlighted on the left, after having made our last changes to our models, we can now run the make migrations and migrate, one right after the other. This is how it will look if everything turns out okay. Now, going to our localhost 8000 API /library/book view set, as previously defined in our urls.py highlighted here, we can finally see our books models API view set. APIs can be used for a variety of purposes on websites, including displaying dynamic content. APIs can be used to display dynamic content on a website, such as news articles, sports scores, or weather updates. Providing interactivity. APIs can be used to provide interactivity on a website, such as allowing users to comment on articles, processing payments, integrating with other services. APIs can also be used to integrate a website with other services, such as, let's see, such as social media platforms, email marketing services, or customer relation management, or CRM systems. This can also help businesses to streamline their operations and improve their efficiency. Even though we have all, what's that notification? Presenting to everyone. Yes, I know, thank you. Even though we have all this, we still don't have a way to log into our admin panel. This is why it says detail authentication credentials were not provided. So let's create a super user. We'll just run the long line of code in the terminal, docker compose -f local.yaml run -rm Django Python manage.py. Great super user. And it's only this long because we're using Docker. If we were just running a small environment with Python, you'd only have to run everything from Python to the right. So we'll have to define our username at the bottom within the command line, our email address, password. Quick warning, you're not going to see your password as you're typing it. This can be quite disorienting, but don't worry, it will want to see if you can type it a second time. We are now able to finally sign in by going to localhost :8000 /accounts /login. Enter our username and password. Django will then require you to use your email. But we are online, so how are we going to confirm our email? Any ideas? Any ideas from the group?
You probably have a double verification.
Oh, so what we're actually going to do is that Docker, as you may or may not know, handles all our site's hosting needs. And there, we can intercept the confirmation URL address by visiting Docker. It's almost kind of like hacking, which is why I like using it, or one of the many reasons. And here it is right here. So go ahead and click on the link or copy and paste it into the browser. Now, click on the confirm button if you can find it. That was just to confirm our email, so log in one more time, and we're now logged in. And now, as you can see, we aren't seeing the warning anymore as before. Before, after, before, after, before, after. So, using our new super user, we will log back into the admin panel and add a new book. I have started to add the Phantom of the Opera. As you can see, we are told that our value has to be less than 32,767. This, no doubt, must have something to do with our model. This is the model with the ISBN number. The models is where you're going to be spending most of your time on your website. The problem is that we are using a small integer, As you know, a small integer is anything less than 32,767. So let's change it. Only a positive integer and try it again. Before we can see our results, we again need to run make migrations and migrate because we made changes to our models. As you can see, we have to re-enter all our book details again. So there we go. Now click save. And it seems our number is still too small. This time it shows that it has to be less than 2,147,483,647. So after a little research, we can see that a positive small integer is limited in between 0 and 32K, positive integer fields 2 billion and less, and positive big integer fields 0 to 1 quintillion, 97 trillion, 814 billion, 218 million, 62,420. That's 16 digits. A regular ISBN, regular ISBN is 10 to 13 digits, so the latter will suit our needs. There we go. I'll spare you the make migrations and migrate, hit save, and now we can label the admin.py complete. But we're still unable to show this to the public. What we have to do now is create an HTML page for the public. So let's see how to get this. The 10th step, or maybe the first, depending on how you look at it, is to add our new .html page, which we will place in the folder name, project name, templates, and books.html. Like so. All right, like so. And before we check our work, we need to add our views.py, which will actually allow us to view it and reference our books.html. Last step is to tell Django how to find our new view.py and where they should find it. Here, you can see the import, and here, and where the import goes, and the page people can find it. Now, let's check our work. And boom, the .html can be officially stamped as done. But it's missing all the details we put in, so let's add a few more steps. Let's add a little more to our script. Oh, but doesn't look like you can see it all, so let's expand it. There we go. You know the drill. Just add this to your books.html, and let's see how this changes. Great. Now people can see all the hard work you put in. Now let's label the HTML as really done. Yes. But we're still unable to show this to the public. What we have to do now is create the HTML page for the public. See? Testing to see if you're on your toes. Because we already just did that. All right, now, as a special conclusion, I'm going to show you a way to view a Django website that you've never seen before. I've been taking great pains in finding each of these files. I've taken great pains into figuring out how each of these files fit together. So submitted for your approval. I show you Drake Redwind 01's The Graph of Django. What's more, this is how most people see Django's site, whether they realize it or not. But as I've said, the best way to look at code is to sometimes, or in spots, to read it backwards. As you can see, the way that we connect these are going to be in the opposite way that we generally choose to create a Django site, further proving my point. This is because, much like a house, we must lay the foundation before building the top of it. You can see the base.py points only to the library. Now, the folder name, project name, templates, books.html could have gotten to library views.py in one shot, completely bypassing the books list. But I wanted to show you the relationship, and now that I've done so, I can remove it. There, perfect. Now, quickly, API router, URLs, endbooks.html, all points to views.py, and the views, serializers, admin, and serializer to models, and the models to models to models to models. He's kind of a narcissist, you see. Just like any other model, maybe. Who knows? Let's see. This has been my presentation on how to make a boss robust website using Django Fast without the fluff. You can find the complete project on my GitHub under the name DrakeRedWin01. I'm still looking for work, so my 10% commission still stands for whoever helps me, whoever is an integral part of helping me to get a job. I now also have references available upon request to make the process easier. If you want to review this presentation again, the San Diego Python group has recorded it, and now the Austin Python group has recorded it for your viewing. And I'm going to eventually put it on my channel, DrakeRedWin01. Let's see. Oh, another great group is the San Diego Python. They meet at Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time zone, of course. Also, look out for my site and development, which uses Django. All I need now is forms, save database, export, import, payments, wallets, escrow, models, just a bunch of things you see here. It now looks like this, but in the future, I want it to look something like this. This is something I just did quickly in GIMP. And I'm currently interested in looking for investors. Incidentally, I made 30 websites during the course of my tutorial, defined as something you can log into and see a page. I'm Drake Redwind. Thank you for your time. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them now.
You gotta add playwright tests to that list you got there.
Oh, yeah.
Just one more thing on the list. Don't worry. It's just another thing.
Can you do APIs with the playwright?
What was that?
Can you do can you call APIs instead of actually just calling a web page? Can you just call the API endpoint and do can you use?
Oh, yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you definitely can do that, because the way that I set up the site it's actually the serializers that sets up the APIs, and so you'd be able to use those APIs to grab whatever information you need.
Yeah. Awesome talk. It was very entertaining.
Oh, great! Thank you.
Yeah, and informative. Yeah, I haven't used Django since version 1.6, I think, but this was really good refresher.
Oh, definitely.
Appreciate
the API, or the page that we went to, that I went this is the old way, this is the new way, old way, new way. That's where you actually see your API. It's just that you couldn't see any API information there because I didn't put in the Phantom of the Opera book before that point. I put it in after, I think.
Yep. Yeah, this kind of reminds me a little bit. I don't know if you're familiar with that book, Two Scoops of Django.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very to the point, like you did here, really you just follow the steps and you get the results. So yeah, this is really good.
Thank you. I really don't like fluff.
Yeah, that's good. Love it. Yeah, thank you again. Yeah, if you have
very impressive, Drake. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Something there's a thought popped in my head. Seems like there's quite a few, at least 2 entrepreneurs in a group, maybe more. Anybody ever consider perhaps taking a Meetup, making an LLC, and as a group, now we try to find work? I mean, Drake, you did a fantastic job and a lot of work, and you said you're looking for work. I'm looking for work. There's a lot of people in our, and then this way we get the minds combined
We could, just make a website and then help everybody out, like help each other out with the website. And then the main website is just a directory.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more as an LLC combined, which would have to be the group leader, and then we become as a whole a contractor, and it's a thought because there's a lot of talent, and everybody can add to that for a goal of producing stuff and adding clients.
Yeah, definitely. That would be cool.
Okay. Well, some thoughts, but thank you. Very, very great, very good presentation. I like your reverse structure that you mentioned. That was very well thought out.
Oh, thank you.
Needed.
I often like to read lines of Python code from right to left sometimes, just because it helps me to understand it better.
It's a good thing. Yeah, and there's a lot of strategies out there. I've seen a few, and that was a very good strategy. Thanks, Drake.
Oh yeah, definitely. You're welcome. And I always feel like if I can't put something in like a graph form or some kind of a visual infographic, I don't really understand it.
You're not alone.
You're halfway towards understanding Hebrew if you're reading from right to left.
Oh, I can
right.
I can read Hebrew. I took a entire 3-week course on it or something. We
Whoa.
sat in the class and we were like, "Abba, ba, ba, ba." I had a older gentleman that used to live in our apartments, and he used to see me carrying like all these boxes upstairs, and he'd go like this, and he's like, "Hazak," and he's like, "You're Hazak," and it means strong in Hebrew. So that became like my nickname.
Yeah.
Nice. So just one more time. So you have all these. You have a mail server. You have an SMTP server in there. You have salary workers. You have your Postgres database. It's Django. You could deploy it on multiple clouds. That's very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
But what else? Did you have any other fun ones? I've never heard of the, what was it? The white noise one? The static noise?
Static. Oh, that one. I think that was celery.
Celery is the task queue.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't done too much work with celery, but I know there was that other one that you said it like just cached your pages in memory or something like that.
Oh, right. So quick, interesting fact. It's 200 slides exactly.
Oh wow. When you were going through there's like 20 steps.
Yeah.
And it was like probably the end of those steps.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's
a little past the cloud stuff, but very impressive that you've added all these extensions into it.
Let's
white
see.
Sentry and white noise. What I think I've even might have used Sentry without really knowing it.
Yeah, the Sentry. Let's see. That's celery. Output. There it is. It records errors, keeping track of performance, enables you to monitor both your app's performance and any faults that happen in your Django application.
So is that like what you use for monitoring? Like I know we use like Prometheus.
Yeah, it's kind of like
that.
It's like cybersecurity stuff.
Oh, it's more cybersecurity stuff than Prometheus. Like Prometheus is just like logging, sending logging.
Yeah, it's logging, but it also helps like, this person logged in and got the password wrong. Maybe I can't remember if that's exactly what it does,
All right. Cool.
but it is logging, like you're
Nice.
saying.
And then white noise. I've never heard of white noise, other in Python context.
Yeah, and the async is really good too. It makes it so that your website doesn't have to work synchronously, which will take up a lot of processing time. And Celery is your automation stuff. And I
Awesome.
think that also saves a lot of money too. All right. Any other questions?
All right. With
Are
that,
you?
James.
So you're focusing mostly on Django. Did you think about other web platforms, or like why would you go with Django to specifically? Give us why you would go that way compared to other frameworks.
So I did do what's that one everybody uses? You know,
Fast
just another
API
site.
or Fast?
Oh, WordPress. I was using WordPress. And so I really liked WordPress because, you know, it was first one I had, all I knew. And I made a lot of stuff with that. And I was like, okay, but I can't make something that a lot of users can log into and create their own stuff so that I don't have to create stuff on my own. And so I went to Wix hoping that was better, but it wasn't. So then everybody was talking about the Python and Flask, and I was looking at Flask, and a few people were saying, hey, you know, it's a little bit harder, but Django doesn't have any limits on it because you can make a really good fast site with Flask, but there's just some things that Django can do that Flask can't. I can't remember what exactly those are, but I wanted to not have a ceiling over me, and so I started learning Django. And then I think it was Mr. KJ who told me about the cookie cutter, and that just does so many steps for you. It does the login stuff already. All these 27 steps it automates for you. It just really throws you into the starting position.
Okay. So I recommend look at Fast API or Sonic. Just look at them and compare them later. There's a difference between Flask and Django, but there are newer types of creatures that are coming our way, like Fast API and Sonic are the newer ones that make things easier in other ways. So
I would preference that with they're more for just REST APIs. I like you can absolutely use them as a backend to your website, but they're not like a web framework first, like Django and Flask, like even Flask is.
Yeah, and then also with Django, I can make it so that I can just, how do you say that?
You get a lot of bells and whistles with Django.
Yeah, I get a lot of bells and whistles. And then that's kind of suiting for Christmas coming up. But the thing is that with Django, yeah, with Django, you have the models, and like that's where you're going to be spending most of your time. You're going to make a really quick HTML thing. You're going to integrate everything really fast. And then the models is where you really sit down and it's like, what do I want on my site? What does my site need? And then on the HTML, you're just like, oh, let me grab this, put it here, grab this, put it here. All of that from your models data. And it's just really easy when you get
A real
used to
backend engineer. There's no the HTML. Just do it all in HTML. There's no fun JavaScript or anything.
Oh no, there's definitely you can use JavaScript too, but I didn't include any in here. Like when I showed you my site, I had a little bit of movement where you could see like the shimmer of the cards, but that was it because I don't really like Java. But yeah, and another good thing with Django is everything's backend, like you were saying. So all people get is the HTML page, and if they want to do anything, they have to work with the HTML page or the API, and there's very little things for people to mess with. So
Okay. Good reasons.
Anyone else got any questions? Because I think with that, we'll just give you another round of applause. Thank you, Drake.
Thank you. That was awesome.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, if anyone wants to go deploy a website, there you go. You Docker compose that up, to cookie cut it through. I'll give you one more trick to use ngrok, and just you could kind of port forwards your local site for you if you want to just try something out and share something with your friends.
And rock.
ngrok, ngrok, ngrok. So
Okay.
I can only type it. It's a nice little command line tool. It'll port forward your, like, if you have localhost 8080, you can ngrok HTTP 80, and then they'll give you a ngrok happy whale 199.com URL. And you can, like, it'll just port forward your website through their system, and then you can like share that URL.
So is that you're saying port forward? So is it still on my system, or am I putting it?
It's
on
your system, but you're port forwarding through their system, so it's on the internet. So you don't have to port forward through your router.
It's like tunneling.
It's just tunneling. Yes, yeah.
But I would have to tunnel through my own router too, right?
No, you wouldn't have to do anything on your router side. It'll handle.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really it's pretty neat for
Sorry.
playing around, like just having little local sites, and you want to show your friends or you want to show someone else. You just throw up the ngrok and then be like, yeah, click around, break it.
Yeah, but you're
So
All
it's
right.
not like the original simple site, simple HTTP server from Python, where you can add whatever port you want when you bring the.
You can put whatever port you want on it.
Yeah, is it the same thing or is it a little
Yeah,
bit
it just
different?
it forwards whatever traffic is coming out of, like, you could set the port when you do ngrok. So whatever traffic's coming out of that port you have running locally, you could forward all that traffic over to.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever used the simple server, the Python, and then you can add the port to the end of that command. So it's basically the same thing.
You could do that with all the servers. With all
Yeah, I just didn't know if it did it any differently. That's all. Like, you know, technically. So, okay, thank you.